being black pill and believing in that ideology, excuse me, that everything is set in stone and your genetics are everything is natural for the human psyche to believe in those things because evolutionarily, if you weren't the big, strong, naturally alpha male type of guy, you were eradicated then and there immediately off the tribe. Your bloodline ended then and there with you. That's how it worked in caveman days, and before humans were as civilized as we are now, thousands of years ago, if you were 5'4" as a man, and everyone around you is say let's say 6 feet or even 5'8", you're basically doomed. They're gonna kill you, and you're physically weaker and you're physically smaller. You're gonna be an easy target. They can oppress you, they can bully you, and basically kill you. So that is still built inside every single human being. That's why the black pill content online, the black pill community is so prevalent. Even me as a kid, even before the internet existed as such, when I was a kid, I used to think that I'm fat. I used to be fat as a kid. I'm fat. So it's basically all for me. I'm never going to be able to like speak to girls. I'm never going to be able to lose weight. This is what I believed in. And there were I just explained to you why we think that something cannot be changed because society wasn't as civilized and society was a lot more quick. It wasn't even a society. We just lived in tribes and it was tribe wars, like gang wars. It was a lot more fast paced than it is now. Like now, everything is calmed down, everything is slow, which means that you have a lot more time to fix things. If you're fat, you can lose weight. That takes time. But if in the olden days you feel fat, you're basically killed off. Does that make sense? Now we have a lot more flexibility on what things to work on. If you're weak, you're basically killed off. But now you can go to the gym and get strong, go to the boxing gym, learn how to fight, defend yourself, that kind of thing. If you're broke, if you have no resources, and you won't get no mates, you won't get no um the mates as in mates to reproduce with, and you won't get no social status. So you were basically a beta male, and you were gonna be killed off in the olden day. But now, if you're broke and you have no social status, you're not gonna be killed off. You can be, but you're not gonna be killed off. You can like work hard and earn money and build yourself up and raise your status. You have a lot more time now. That's why this whole concept of the male advantage comes in because society's a lot more slower now. You won't get killed off. Genetics don't play that much of a role. The reason being, okay, so far I think I've been waffling a lot. I don't think I'm really making sense. So let's take me as an example. I'm a skinny guy. I don't look skinny now. I look kind of puffy and fat right now, but I'm been bulking now. If I was a skinny guy like thousands of years ago and I was in a tribe, I would be basically considered like a mule, and you weren't fit to fight. You can't go into battle, so you'll probably end up doing like farming or work for the big strong guys with all the resources and the women. You're probably one of their slaves to go and do coal mining or pick up the trash or go into the forest and pick berries or farm or some shit like that. You're basically going to be a slave. But right now, I'm skinny. No one's going to make me to do shit. I can take my time in bulking and going to the gym and building my frame out, building, growing physically, and not be skinny anymore. But if you were skinny, like born skinny back in the olden days, you're fucked. You're basically done, done over. That's the realization that most normal people don't have because no, most normal people think like I just mentioned before. They just think if you're genetically short, if you're genetically fat, if you're genetically skinny, if you're genetically poor, socially low in status, you're basically fucked in the olden day. And we still have that primitive brain inside of us. Our brains have not evolved as much as the society has evolved around us. We still think in the primal caveman way. If we see a threat, our adrenaline spikes up. If we are about to go into fight, your fight or flight mode kicks on. You're still built and wired evolutionarily, so you can't really change that. But yeah, I don't really believe in Darwin and his concepts as such. But like Darwin said, it's not the strongest or the biggest or the quickest one that survives. It's the most adaptable that survives. It's not the strongest, not the biggest. It's the most adaptable. If you understand the society we live in right now and the circumstances right now, you have a lot more time. You have a lot more time. If you're skinny, broke, weak, short, fat, ugly, you can actually change those things. It just takes a bit of time. The reason people think that, oh, you're doomed, is because that's what they're evolutionarily hardwired to think. And that's true in the olden days. That's true in the olden days, not right now. Because right now, you have a lot more time on your hand and you can actually influence those things like heavily, like to, you can go from a 0 to 100 in like some of these metrics I'm talking about here. If you're skinny, you can actually get like massive. If you're weak, you can actually get like really strong. If you can't fight, you can't defend yourself, you can actually become like a UFC champion or some shit. Do you get what I'm coming at here? So, with all of that said, the concept of the male advantage basically means men get better with age, and all of the assets and all the skills and everything that women find desirable in men comes with age. The reason being, if you're not genetically the blessed guy, the top tier alpha male chat type of guy, you're not doomed in this era. You're not. In the olden days, you were. In this era, you're not. That's a that's a really really like, no one realizes that shit. Most guys think, oh, I'm short, I'm gonna give up. Oh, I'm broke, I'm gonna give up. But the times are different now. I'll explain this one last time. Like, try to be as compendious as I can. The reason most young men think that it's game over if you're not genetically blessed is because you're naturally hardwired to think you are done over here. Because the alpha male is come in, he's gonna kill you and take your woman. If you have at least like one, that's what's gonna happen, and that is absolutely the case in the olden day. Because you used to live in tribes, and then it became like the king and the peasants, and then came in capitalism, and then came in the revolution, all that kind of shit. Right now, in the society we live in, you have a lot more time on your hands, and you can actually change some of these things. If you were skinny back in the day, you cannot just eat more food and bulk up and go to the gym and lift some weights and get bigger, get muscular, learn how to fight. You can't be doing that shit. You're gonna be instantly killed off. If you had any chance of working hard and to get time on your hands to develop yourself, it wasn't the case back then. You didn't have time. If you were weak, you were eradicated immediately. You did not have any time. But now, times are different. You can actually affect things a lot more, with a lot more impact, and create a lot more impact right now than it was before. So don't be black pill, don't be gay.